guys, Dr. Vic here, and I'm excited that you're here as we're going to be discussing today on this episode of the Mindful Chiropractor. I'm talking about how to live in the quantum world and maximize your practice and your life. Too many times as my own experience being a business owner and talking with tons of business owners, being a coach, working with clients and listening to business advice and all that stuff for the last 10, 15 years, it's one of those things where all I continue to hear is all about the doing, right? Grind, hustle mentality, putting the sweat equity in. You have to sacrifice in order to get this piece of success, right? This dollar, this thing that is going to be that factor when it comes to you growing a business. But there's a whole other way of doing things. And to me, I think it's better because I like to work smarter, not harder. I like to utilize the law of least effort, which means what's the greatest amount, the littlest amount of work to get the greatest gain possible. So in the quantum world, this is nothing fancy or new or different. This has been out for, who knows how long now, 100 years at least. We've understood quantum in some way, shape, or form. Quantum mechanics, we went to quantum physics. And one of the things we know for sure is that everything in this world is made up of energy. Every single thing, okay? What shows up into the physical realm is based upon the energy imprint underneath. And so when we look at lead versus gold, right? When you look at different things like that, the only reason why it shows up that way is because of the energy imprint. Okay, that's the only reason why. It's a different energy imprint that creates a different molecular structure, and that's what manifests into the physical realm. All things in the physical realm tie into the non-physical or the quantum world. Okay, so why is this important to you? Why is this important to understand this for business, life, and so much more? Well, let's dive in. So one of the things is I created something called the Billionaire's Success Formula. This is something I use with my clients, and I just literally coined this term like a month ago. But it's one of those things where I've been teaching my clients this principle for the last 4 years, and it's one of those things where understanding how to get the maximum gain for success. It is a formula that is literally designed for success. And if you're not achieving success in your practice and in your life, you can go back, look at the formula, and it will literally tell you where you're not putting your energy to. And one of the things about this formula we get into is all about the essence of your mind and your vibe. Okay. So when you look at things from a chiropractic perspective and you look at things of what we do as chiropractors, right? When someone has something going on, do we go and say, well, that's the cause of this. This is all we're going to work on. I'm going to work on this muscle. I'm going to just do this thing and that's it. Or do we go work on the nervous system, something that's away from, sometimes it could be the cause, but it's going away and we're focusing on brain function. We know that now that when you make an adjustment, it's changing and altering brain function and how the brain receives communication, different wiring, where's it going to the prefrontal cortex, all these different things. And so when we're looking at that, we get that. But then for some reason, as chiropractors, when we go to business side, then we get into all caught up into our world of looking at, okay, what do we need to do? How do I need to do this? Instead of going right to here. This is the biggest thing, the biggest component that can help you really thrive and expand and blow up in your practice. We get so caught up in doing, but instead of being first and focusing on that quantum element, that energy, what is the energy of where you're coming from? Because as I said earlier, lead and gold is just a different energy. Guess what? A successful chiropractor versus a chiropractor who's not successful is all going to come down to the energy of where you're at. That's the only difference. And billionaires is why I coined this term, Billionaire's Success Formula, is really all about just how they live their lives. What is it that they do? Can it just make you a billionaire? Of course. Can it make you a millionaire? Of course it can. But it's how they live their life and how they approach things. I'll never forget listening to a couple of years ago, Jeff Bezos is coming out of his quarterly meeting and a reporter comes up and he's like, hey, Jeff, great job in Amazon. I saw the returns last quarter. You guys did absolutely amazing. And Jeff's like, I don't even know what our returns were. And the reporter was kind of stunned. He's like, you were just in a quarterly meeting. How did you? And he goes, yeah, I was in a quarterly meeting for 3 years from now. And he was like, huh? He goes, yeah, we're projecting where we're going to be in 3 years and focusing on where we're going. Now, for some, you may say, okay, great, he's just a future planner. There's nothing to that. Well, don't dismiss that, because in the quantum realm, you don't get caught up in where you are at the moment. You focus on where you want to go and learning how to attract that into your life, learning how to focus, how to bring that here into the present. And so one of the things I want to share, and I've shared this before on my podcast, and I'm starting to do this more live for you guys now here in the group. So for those who are listening to the recording on the podcast, I am doing this live on the Prosperous Chiropractor Club. It's a Facebook group. I have one on LinkedIn too, but this one allows me to go here through Facebook. So if you want to get connected, it's in the show notes. But those who are listening to this on the Facebook group, share some comments on things that, when it comes to this, is this energy thing out there for you? Is it something that's like, this is crazy, I never heard of this before? Let me know. Rank that as a 1. 2 means that you kind of have an idea of what this is and you kind of practice in this a little bit. And then 3 means that you are totally doing this and a master of this. So please put that in. I'd love to know where you guys are. So when it comes to then coming back to focus and vision and mindset, these are in the billionaire's success formula. V and M, vibe and mind, we multiply that together and that's squared. So, and then you have multiply that by your actions, which will equal your success. And so when you look at this formula, it's one of those things where if we can focus on vibe, we can focus on energy, and we can focus on mind. If we just double that, you 8x your success. I mean, now if you keep action the same and everything else, and as a chiropractor, guys, to be honest with you, if you're showing up to your office and you're making your adjustments and you're taking care of new patients and so forth, that's action. That's action enough. Okay. And with that being said, this is how you can expand. And I share this in a story. And for those who are interested, you can always just comment below, put in webinar in the comments. I have a free on-demand webinar where I discuss the backstory behind this formula. And I share some of my success of how I stumbled upon it. Because like doing this and using this, instead of focusing so much on business strategies, marketing, and all these other aspects, when I was in my practice, I remember I made a shift in 2016 where I wanted to go more pediatrics. So in 2017, we started that. I'll never forget. I looked at my patient volume, and I looked at all the patients I had, and I said, okay, where's the age range between 0 and 17? And I want to know what that number is. And we did that. My team sent it to me, gave it to me, and said it's 5%. I said, okay, 5%. My goal is to get to 50%. They're like, when do you expect to get there? I have no idea. The time to get there doesn't matter to me. I just know we're moving towards that, and we're going to do it in some way, shape, or form. What did I focus on? My mind and my vibe. Okay. When I got that centered and focused, right? So my thoughts, my emotions, my future self, how I saw myself as a pediatric chiropractor, my vision of what I had in vision. I used visualization, all these tools that I used. No marketing. Okay. I want to be crystal clear with that. There was no marketing to peds. And if you want to be fully transparent, I did have one event where we did, it was specific to somewhat of peds. We got 2 patients out of that. And I will tell you right now, that did not change the percentage of what I'm going to share here. It helped a little, but it wasn't the big bulk of it all. But long story short, there was really no marketing. We did no Facebook ads. We didn't do any, education on stuff. We just continued practicing like we were. But I wanted to utilize the quantum world and just change my energy and vibe and see what would show up. I was testing this. I've tested it before. It worked. I want to do it again. Long story short, 6 months later, we went from 5% to 48%. I had my team reevaluate at the end of July. It was the first week in August. And I said, hey, please, can you go back and just look at what is our patient volume in July? I would love to see where we are. And they came back and you're like, Doc, you're right at 48%. I said, holy cow. I said, cool, let's go. And they're like, how did you do that? I'm like, I didn't do anything. I said, now let's practice on marketing. Right now I'm starting to all right, let's get the actions going now. I didn't need to do it, but I did it anyhow. And we got all the way up to 62% at one point. So it's one of those things where, I share this over and over again, how like, even with utilizing this stuff, too many times being a business coach, as long as I have now, I'm 4 years in, but one of the things I've learned and see is that we get so much in the business world, so much caught up in doing. We get so much caught up in controlling our future. We get so much caught up in the business practices and strategies. And I'm not saying those things don't matter. Those are tools. Okay. They all work. Here's the thing. I'm going to reference this to you in chiropractic. Okay. So in chiropractic, how many techniques do we have? 250, 300, 350. It's up there. 300 maybe. Which one works? Which one works? All of them do. At least that's what we know. Every technique that's come out, it works. You've heard the phrase in chiropractic before. This is nothing new. Chiropractic works 100% of the time, does the chiropractor. Why is that phrase so relevant? What does that mean? Is that because of the skills of the chiropractor? Does that mean how they look at things? Or is it their energy and intention and imprint of where they're coming from? You see, if you want to, the way business has been conducted is it's like a computer system. And the computer system is an old system that you're looking at that hasn't been updated for a while. And so when we're looking at from a quantum perspective, we're looking at things from a different way. This software needs to be updated. The doing side and making that 80-90% to determine your success is not going to get, it's not that it doesn't work. It's a snail effect, and you're going to have a burnout effect from that. And you're going to have to pay every time you use force energy, you're going to have to take away from you. So, and this is why 50 to 54% of chiropractors, based on the Journal of Chiropractic Medicine in 2019, stated that we are burned out. And that's why every chiropractor in the 5-year period has, in 5 years, 50% of them are not practicing in the profession anymore. So we need to do something a little different. We got to change the ball game here. We got to change the program. We got to change the software. So how do you change the software? Well, this is what I'm trying to share with you guys today. Changing the software is looking at things from a different perspective. Instead of making it 80, 90% action, even sometimes 100% action, how about we flip the script and go 80, 90% vibe and mind, do 10 to 20% action? What if we do that? What happens then? I know for my clients and for myself, we've seen massive gains with that. Not just gains financially, not just gains in practice, fulfillment, higher energy, more on fire, financially, relationships, health, all that exponentially grows together, right? How many times you see in business or someone in chiropractic, someone who's doing really well in business, health isn't well, maybe relationships aren't that well. Those are things that we're not focusing on the core essence of what we can do. So this principle, this billionaire success formula, is really designed to be a process to allow you to say, if I'm not getting my results, or if I am getting my results, looking at the formula, how the inputs are coming in, to have built up your recipe of what works for you. Because that's the difference between what I teach and what I do is you're creating your customized way of growing and expanding in practice and in life, rather than going out and being a prototype to a lot of other things that are out there. I'm only saying it like that because that was me the first 5 years of my practice, where I was that prototype. I was that individual who was learning from the best as I possibly, what I thought were the best at the time. And whatever they did, I just go ahead and say, okay, great. That's what they did to get to there. I'm going to do it. Done deal. And after 5 years of burnout every 4 to 6 months, I started realizing, hold on, there's something wrong here. Yeah, I'm hitting my financial peak, success, running almost a 7-figure practice. Yeah, that was all great. But the other concern for me is not being satisfied and unfulfilled. Something needed to change. And so tapping into this element, this was a huge game changer for me. And this is how you can do that. So sharing all that, I want to give you a little something to help in that process. So when it comes to your shifting your energy and your vibe and all that great stuff, there's so many tools out there. One of the ones that I share a lot, and I've shared this with my patients a lot, I've been doing this for almost 10 years, is breath work. Okay. Breath work is going to help you if you're stressed, if you're anxious, if you can't center yourself, you can't focus, or you just can't get in that creative state, or you want to really elevate and come from a level of high energy without force. Right? Because again, like I said, we come from a lot of force. So if we can go ahead and come from that higher vibe, it's a game changer, because now we're coming from our true power, our true essence. And this is a game. This shifts everything. When I started to focus more on my vibe and my energy, patient outcomes improved. Referrals came through the door consistently at ease. Didn't have to worry about ever marketing new patients ever. I mean, I didn't do much of that anyhow, but I was a referral practice, but the flow of it just came. Like I'd be thinking like, all right, I want to get to this many new patients this month. Let's level up. Or I want to get to this number of patient visits a week. Or I want to get to this level of number financially per week, in the next quarter or the next month or the end of the year or next year. And it happened. Why? Because again, it's coming from that element from the quantum in the vibe way, instead of forcing it, trying to say, I'm just going to keep putting my energy. I'm going to go in the office. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's go. And I'm going to go rev. But there's a cost to that, man. You can go ahead and do it in a different way. So breath work is going to allow you to center to that source and connect to yourself and be able to calm the nervous system, recenter yourself, balance the ANS, and allow you to be more in that flow state. So when you're in the office, man, you're just in this level, calm, centered place. This is what happens. Your adjustments are better because it's not all about what you're doing. It's the energy where you're coming from. The second thing is you're going to notice better patient outcomes. Your team's going to notice a difference in things. Your relationship's going to get better. Your mindset's going to get better. Your health's going to get better. And you're going to financially grow if you do it consistently. I'm not saying that it's because of the breath work, it's the effects of it and how it centers you and centers your mind to be better at what you do in that level. And that's just one tool that changes your vibe. That's part of the Billionaire Success Formula that is going to allow you to exponentially grow in your practice and your business. There's other things that can do that, right? But it's these kind of components that's going to do that for you. So that's what I got for you guys today. If you're listening, if you're checking us out on the Facebook group, please comment below. Tell me what was your big takeaway. What did you like? If you have any questions, put that in there. And again, if you're listening to the podcast, audio or video, and you're like, where is this guy coming from? Come join me on the Facebook group, the Prosperous Chiropractor Club, and I will go ahead and this is something I want to be trying to do weekly to go ahead and share these lives with you and so forth. So let me know how it is. I'm going to feel this out for a little bit. I want to see if you guys are interacting with this and enjoying this. And if you are, I'll continue to do this for the group. So thank you as always for the podcast. Subscribe if you haven't. And if you like the podcast, please share a review. It helps us get us out there. And as always, if you were inspired, please pay it forward by sharing it with one person. Appreciate you guys always. It's Dr. Vic. Until next time, keep rocking and rolling.